Well, hello, Julie. Welcome back to Real Estate Marketing Show. Did you have a nice little hiatus for,
I did. Thank
what was
you
that,
for
spring we took off a little bit,
yeah,
a
a
couple
little
months?
bit. Yeah, a few weeks.
All right. Well, our clients and our agents have demanded we get back into the studio,
Yes.
so here we are. So we're with episode number
25.
20.
We've done 25.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. 25 it is. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, thank you very much for that. We've been getting some really good feedback, and we can't wait to just keep training agents over and over and over. We're actually taking requests now.
Yes.
So some of the agents are saying, hey, this is what I want to learn. So the agents that we train, if you guys don't know, at HomeSmart, we train agents live on Wednesdays and Thursdays in our office. But since there's so many of you that aren't with us in our classrooms or at other companies waiting to move over, so it's nice that we put this on our YouTube channel for you guys. And Martha, our unbelievable social media studette, if you will, has been really getting us a lot of downloads, thousands and thousands of them. So thank you, Martha, for that.
Sure.
So today what we wanted to cover was converting buyer leads. Now, you had the recent opportunity of running a team on a paid real estate platform.
Yes.
How were the agents talking about converting those leads?
They're very difficult. I mean, it's not as easy as you may say. I don't know if it takes that experience. It definitely takes the right person on the phone saying the right things.
Right.
And I'm glad that we do get into so many scripts, so many dialogues, and kind of really even mirroring and matching things on the phone.
Yep, there you go.
See, I do learn
I love
too.
that. She does learn. So,
But yes, I mean, we need to dive into it a little bit more.
so it's difficult. Let's
Yes.
just say it's freaking hard,
Yes,
right?
it's freaking hard.
All right, it's freaking hard. So what I like to say is, I say it's not that hard. You just got to know what to do, what to say,
Right.
how to say it, when to say it. And what I wanted to go over was a couple things that the people have been asking about recently. Some of our Facebook groups. We have to talk about that real
Yes.
quick. The HomeSmart Next Level Training Series. You guys make sure you're in that on Facebook. It's HomeSmart Next Level Training Series. Sorry to be so company specific, but it is what it is. We can't run 5 million of these different things. And this is where you and I are posting really amazing training,
And it's
updates
not
to our
supposed-
classes.
That
and-
one's not just HomeSmart specific. I
Right.
mean, that's training from every different kind of avenue, every place. I mean, you have so many different coaches, and so we share a lot on there.
That's right. And the HomeSmart part of it is where I'm a little biased, I guess. The other one is the Club Wealth Real Estate Agent Mastermind Group. Club Wealth Real Estate Agent Mastermind Group. Every other Wednesday, we're going Facebook Live. And the reason I wanted to talk about that is because we're getting 20,000 people on average per week watching that. And we're having the most unbelievable guests from Club Wealth. They're coaches, they're top producers. There's all kinds of guests that we're inviting into that show.
That one's really high level. I mean, it's mind blowing the stuff that you guys are sharing on there. And if agents just took maybe 5 minutes of it, they'd be successful.
And we're doing it for an hour every other Wednesday. So make sure you join that group, you guys. It's definitely interesting. The Stark and HomeSmart 10-week social media series, we are on a little break on that. We do that once a year, and we just got done. And the reason I wanted to point that out is, you guys, there is 10 weeks of the latest and greatest social media training, anything from Twitter to Pinterest to Facebook dark ads and Facebook lead ads, lead page ads, all the things. We even did one on squeeze pages and landing pages. So if you guys haven't seen that, I know it's a lot of training. It seems overwhelming. I'm sitting here listening to myself going, blah. But the reality is, you guys need to be working on your skill set. How long?
An hour a day?
Hour a day. Good job. So an hour a day, we want you guys to really work on this stuff. And if you did this complete package along with our podcast, I think you'd see a huge change in your
Absolutely.
real estate career. And
Huge.
feel free to share them with everybody. We really appreciate that and the great reviews. All right, let's move on a little bit. So the podcast, obviously you're on the Real Estate Marketing Show, but if you're watching on the YouTube channel, the Social Life Podcast too, Deanna, our partner with social media, is doing podcasts, I believe, weekly now.
Yep.
And I've caught a few of those, so I'm a believer and I'm willing to promote that on this show. So the Social Life Podcast, make sure you search that when you get done listening to this one.
When Deanna has an app that I've been using in the car, it's
Yep.
the best thing ever.
There you go.
So
And what's
that's a
that
good
one called? The Stark
Stark
Social Media
Social
app? Yeah, so just go to your app store and search Stark Social Media. All right, let's talk about it. Do we have anything else to say before we get into this? Probably not. It's been a few minutes. Let's talk about converting buyers from open houses, right? And then we're going to talk about sign calls, and this might be in a different order, but whatever. And internet leads. These are the three forms of leads that agents typically work with on a day-to-day basis. They're very similar, but at the same time, they're very different. And that's what I wanted to break them down a little bit and use different scripts, different dialogues, and help agents understand that there is a difference. So you need to practice differently. So if I'm going to work an hour today on open houses, that's what I'm going to work on. If I'm going to work on sign calls, it's a different conversion. It's a different way. So let's get into that a little bit.
Well, I would definitely think the person that's calling from a sign versus an internet lead is going to be a different personality style. So
Yeah,
if you
absolutely.
just kind of maybe focus there in the beginning,
Yep.
that would seem like how I would.
Let's see what the slide says. Sign calls. Good girl. You vanna there. I knew that one. All right, so let's talk about sign calls. These are my favorite. They're designed to get as many quality leads as possible, right? We put a sign in the yard and agents think, oh, I'm going to have buyers call that want to buy this house, or I have a seller to impress, or I'm going to use this sign for farming. Now, what we got to focus on is I love listings, right? I'm not a fan of buyers, and I will publicly announce that as often as possible. But the reality is they're kind of necessary sometimes. If we're slow, we need to pick up a sale. Bam! I mean, a buyer is now money, right?
Well, yeah, you love listing, but I think you really love the marketing side of it too. That's why your signs were so unique back in the day and still are now. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sign calls. Okay. Here's what I also like about them. They're a lot cheaper than buying leads, right?
Okay.
You can get a listing fairly inexpensive, and we get a listing that we get paid off of, but reality is, dude, we get buyer calls off that all the time. So there's two theories behind sign calls, especially with Club Wealth and a lot of the people that we work with. They like to put phone numbers that are trackable, like we use ProQuest. 800 number, and we don't put any information on the sign. Remember our 4 deadly sins: price, square footage, your built bath. We don't want to put any of that on the sign, but we do want to say on our 800 number, call for current pricing and availability. So if a buyer is driving by a sign, they want to know, number one, if it's available, and number two, what the price is of the house. So then the 800 number will give the information, call capture, we get to call back. And the reason we use ProQuest is because you have the zero, press 0 to be transferred to an agent. So if they're hot to trot and they want to talk to me, push 0. Make sense?
Yep.
All right, so the other reason, the other way to do it is just put your cell phone number on there. But you have to be committed to answer your cell phone. Just like any other lead, we should probably return a call in how long?
3 minutes.
30 seconds.
30 seconds? Okay.
Well, if you're going to
I
answer
guess
your cell, you're going to
for
answer
the
your
sync
cell.
ones, those are the ones, or the commissions ones. I've seen the training says 3 minutes, but
Yeah, and that and let's talk about that for a minute. You're right. Back in the day, I mean, this was so funny to talk about because it was only, when I say back in the day, I mean a year ago.
Right.
It was call back within 30 minutes.
no.
That was
30
real
minutes
though.
would be gone.
And trust me, trying to get a agent to call back within 30 minutes was impossible back then. And then the online lead buying thing got more and more competitive, more and more platforms, Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, Homes.com, and then people are buying on it. It just got more and more intense, the competition. So then the lead generation companies started selling leads to multiple agents. Before it would just, the lead would come to you. Now they sell it to 3 different people or more in some cases in some of the smaller companies. So anyway, so time went on and generation after generation of real estate lead gen, it's now 30 seconds. Basically, you should answer the phone.
Right.
So in some of our platforms, you mentioned Sync, and that's Commissions Inc. If you're not familiar with it, we have our, Switchboard Sarah, which actually calls us while they're on the phone.
While they're online.
While they're online. So I guess we can get to that while we're talking about online leads. So anyway, so the buyer sign call, super important. We could force the phone to ring as much as we want. We could put as much information on the sign as possible or as little. And obviously we're going to recommend little if you're going for buyers. And this is the part I like. It's very serious because they've seen the neighborhood already, right? They've drove this neighborhood. They're calling off a sign. So compared to an online lead, a sign call to me is better because these people, they're not in Oklahoma. They're not in New York. They're here. They go, this is a lovely neighborhood, so much so that I'm going to call on the sign. Now, would you admit that buyers calling on a sign have to be pretty serious.
Oh, 100%. And actually, do you find in just tracking the numbers that you see a higher conversion ratio on those?
Absolutely.
Because
Sign
if
calls
I-
are the best of the best of the best.
Right.
They typically know somebody in the neighborhood that already said.
Or they're
love
calling
it.
for like, oh, I drove by and my best friend's looking to buy here. Or like
Right.
they're actually doing
They're
their homework
calling
for
you,
other
and they
people.
know they're going to talk to a salesperson.
Right.
Online, sometimes we get a little tricky, and we don't really let them know we're going to trap their numbers and call
Right.
them back and all that. So this
And
is
sell their lead
they're straight
100 times
reaching
over.
out, saying, "Look, we need help."
Right.
So when we take a sign call seriously, or this is the reason we take a sign call seriously, because the buyers or the agents have to know that these people are more serious so than an online lead. And I don't care what anybody says. We've time tested it, proven it over and over and over. So when you think about, am I a listing agent or a buyer's agent, you might want to take more listings to get more buyer calls and pay a lot less money for them. And I can't wait to talk about some of the things we've been finding out lately about online leads. Something else to consider, this could be your only shot with this person, like for reals. Because if you don't give them the information they want in this house, they're gone. There's probably another sign in the neighborhood, so they're gone. If you don't return their call while they're hot to trot, forget it. An online lead, a lot of times they'll take a lot longer to cultivate.
They're like sidetracked, right? I mean, they just have so many shiny things coming at them, so
Yeah.
they can easily be distracted. But I feel like with a sign call,
They're focused.
they're even gonna they're so dialed in. They've got your number. They know who they're calling. They can now start to kind of have that preconceived notion about you as an agent.
Yep. And they will actually, when they reach out to you, they'll actually say, I'm looking for this specific thing. So you have to have them. And I beat you guys over the head over and over with this, but the reality is you need to be previewing 2 hours a day. 2 hours a day, if you did that and you did it diligently, you'd know every home on the market. So let's just practice a sign call. So why don't you go ahead and call me and let's do a real sign
I'm
call.
driving by. I'm driving past one of your listings, and I'm calling you.
You got it.
Okay, ring ring.
Hi, this is Mike.
Hi, I am calling on the house on Willow Street.
Oh, Willow Street, that's a fantastic house. And you know that house is still available. Is that a price range you're most comfortable with?
Well, I'm actually calling to find out how much it is. I didn't see that on the sign.
Oh, fantastic. That house is $449.9, and it's been on the market about a week now. How soon do you need to make a move?
Gosh, $449.9. That seems a little expensive for that location. I'm not familiar with the area.
Gotcha. Well, one of the benefits of working with us is we preview homes all day, every day. I happen to know a couple around the corner that might be a little bit better deals. As a matter of fact, we specialize in short sales and foreclosures that aren't yet on the market. How soon do you need to make a move?
We're just kind of driving around. We're looking around this weekend, but we've got our house listed. and,
Fantastic. Awesome. Where's the house at?
We've got our house in Newhall.
In Newhall. Not too far away. I can appreciate that. Well, this particular house is still available, and if it seems to be a little bit expensive for you, I could definitely offer you a list of foreclosures and short sales that'd be a better deal. If I could show you a home that's not on the market yet, would you see that with me?
Yeah, we're still kind of in the beginning stages. I was really interested in this one because I love the location.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah, and the square foot. How big is that
That's
house? on Willow?
2,100 square feet.
Wow. Okay.
Gotcha.
So, do you think that we can touch base later when the seller goes down a little bit?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's a great question. Have you, obviously you said your home's been on the market. Have you seen what's been going on in our real estate market today?
Sure. Yes.
So you've heard of the bidding wars and multiple offers?
Yeah, we haven't got to that point just yet with ours.
Right. So, how long has your home been on the market?
I can't get through it because I know what you're doing now. This is where you just go in for taking that listing too.
Right. Well, so typically, let's be honest. Let's go back to, if you're a motivated buyer, let's take out the fact that your house is already on the market. Because honestly, folks, in my area, if they said their house is already on the market, I'd say let me go ahead and give your real estate agent that information. It's very rare where I'm going to try to steal a buyer from somebody that's already listed with another agent.
No, I
Now, if you
understand
said that
that,
was
but-
out of the area, if you said you lived a half hour away, then we'd have a whole different conversation about how important it is to have a local agent. Because even a half hour away, the agents might try to come into our area and disservice the client by trying to sell them a home in our area. So that's a whole different script and dialogue series, which I'm grateful that that came out. But the reality is if honestly, I wouldn't go too much further if they already had their home listed in our town. I'd say, let me give your agent the information. So let's back up. Let's say,
But that is how serious you should be looking at a sign call, because you genuinely could be looking at 2 or 3 deals down the line, right? If you service this buyer properly,
Yeah, no,
why
absolutely.
wouldn't that be the expectation?
absolutely. If they're listed, I'm not going to see them. So let's go back to this call.
'Kay.
And let's say, I'm going to say, do you have a home to sell?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Well, let me ask you a question. The home you called on is a very nice home. Are you looking to move because you're looking for something a little bigger, just a different area?
No, we definitely are. We needed to go up in square footage.
Fantastic.
We've outgrown our tiny little condo.
Gotcha. All right. So this particular home you're called on is 2,100 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. It would probably fit what you're looking for if you've come out of a condo. How many homes have you seen in the areas of your choice lately?
You know, there's a lot available, but there's nothing genuinely that's like kind of caught our eye exactly like this one.
Gotcha. And how are you looking for homes? Probably online and driving around?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
we're all over the place.
No, that makes perfectly good sense. And there's a lot of homes that aren't on the market. As a matter of fact, probably half the homes available don't even have signs up or on the internet yet. So we specialize in finding foreclosures, short sales, homes that are not yet on the market. Sometimes I might be sprucing them up. So if I could show you homes that are not on the market yet, would you be willing to see those with me possibly tomorrow or the next day?
Sure. Maybe just email me over a list of what we'd be looking at.
No
and
worries.
We'll narrow down the location.
Awesome. Now, let me ask you another question. You said you had a condo to sell. Did I hear that properly? Or
Yes.
have you considered renting that?
No, we want to sell it. We want to
Need the down payment out of that.
Down
And that
payment.
makes perfectly good sense. Why don't we do this? Why don't we set an appointment for tomorrow at 4, or maybe would 5 be better? And that way I'm going to stop by your house. I'm going to give you a list of these foreclosures and short sales and other homes not yet on the market. But at the same time, I want to give you a free market evaluation of your place. And that way I can tell you exactly what we're going to get out of that property. And then when we talk to the lenders, we know what you're going to be dealing with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that works.
Fantastic. Let me ask you a question. Are you the only one going to be involved in the purchase, or do you have a husband?
No,
or
my husband.
Fantastic. Okay. What's his name?
My husband's name is Brendan.
Brendan. Will he be available tomorrow at 4:30 as well?
No, he's always working late.
Okay, fantastic. And I can appreciate that. One of the benefits of working with us is our time is flexible, and it's really important that both of you guys are there when we go over numbers, obviously. I would hate to have him come home from work and not have a clue of what you just went through. So why don't was 6 better?
I'll see what we can do. Most likely we'll be meeting kind of in the beginning and getting a little bit of the preliminary information down and then tying him in a little bit later.
Fair enough, and I can appreciate the fact you want to do that. How about we move this appointment to the weekend? It's really important you both are there. I don't want to go through the same appointment over and over. Does that make sense?
Works. Yeah, we can try Saturday.
How
for
about
sure.
Saturday at 10?
That works.
Perfect. So then I would go through and get all your information. I would ask you to go online and search for homes on our website, not Zillow and Trulia. So that turned into a very difficult situation very fast, because now they're both decision makers aren't there. The nice part about most people we deal with, the husband and wife typically are going to be there if you do something so serious. So when the one spouse or the other says they're going to bring in the other person later, in my experience over 25 years, one of two things is going to happen. Number one, the other spouse isn't quite ready for this spouse to be doing that. So I'm like, there's no way I'm going to waste my time. Or the reality is maybe the husband or wife does work that much, and they will be one to filled in later. And exactly what I said, I'm not afraid to say, I don't want to have the same appointment twice.
Right.
You guys need to get your questions together, hear them, answer them. And an agent has to be very strong about this, because that could happen maybe once or twice a week. And if the agents are not strong enough to make sure both decision makers are there, you're spinning your wheels. I have agents right now that I know showing homes to one spouse and not the other for months. What's going to happen when they find one
Months.
that they love?
Yeah, it's already got 10 offers on it, right?
Or the
more.
spouse goes, let's say, oh God, finally I found one that I love. You bring the spouse in the next day and they say, oh, I love this one too. But what else do you got? This is not fair. The spouse hasn't seen all 30 homes. He or she doesn't realize that, dude, that is the best house and the best deal, and we better jump on it to avoid the multiple offers.
Right.
So now you start from scratch. But at least you got that spouse's interest, perked up a little bit, and you might be able to start working with both of them now. But, whew. So sign calls, there's a couple things we need to worry about. Number one, I have foreclosures and short sales not yet on the market. Every time you say that, you're going to get a yes, unless they're really, really committed to somebody and they don't understand that there's a difference. Better deals. This house on Willow is available or it is sold. Either way, it doesn't matter. But I do know of a couple other homes that might be better deals for you. Now, when you say better deals for you, I'm not necessarily talking about price-wise. Better deals might mean this one has RV parking.
Right.
This one has a view. This one has a pool. So it could be a better deal for that person. So a lot of the agents say, Mike, why do you always say there could be a better deal? Well, you got to look at it with an open mind. It's
Right.
not always financial. So I hate when agents fight me on that. When I say a better deal for you, that means for you.
It just matches them a little bit better. I
Correct.
mean, it could be larger for the same price or better location for what they think is a better location.
Right. The other thing is, this is where the agents go, oh, Mike, you didn't pre-qualify that person. You don't have a pre-qualification letter. You don't know if they can afford that house or not.
cares?
Right. We want to get with them. We want to bond with them, and we want to make sure that we're the first agents to meet them, because typically they'll stick with you if you're not a bonehead. But for the agents, and there's always one listening right now, I can always see your face. Oh, screw that. I want a pre-qualification letter. So let's go back to that. So we have an appointment set for Saturday at 10:30. So, Julie, before I let you go, can you do me a favor?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Just do me a favor and email me over your pre-qualification letter, your pre-approval letter. Sometimes some of these sellers won't let us in without that, or the other agents. Is that fair?
So what does that look like? Where are we getting that from?
Your lender. Have you spoke with the lender by any chance?
We have kind of a few months ago, kind of in the beginning process. but-
Okay, and that's awesome too. So if we're going to be putting a home on the market eventually, and we're going to be looking at homes, we should probably spend just a quick 15, 20 minutes on the phone with our lender. We have a great partnership with Skyline Mortgage, and all I want to make sure is that you're comfortable with the payments on the prices that we're looking at.
Well,
Does
that's
that make
fine.
sense?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be this big, long, drawn-out loan application. I just want to make sure it's free, no obligation, and we know that that is a comfort range, at least payment-wise.
Yeah, that works.
Sometimes what happens is you say, oh, I can only afford 500,000, and it turns out later you can afford a lot more based on rates and interesting programs, things like that.
Perfect.
So I'm going to have so-and-so call you at about 5 or 6 tonight. Would that be okay? Just spend about 20 minutes?
Sure, that works.
Great. So for those of you agents say, oh, no, I'm not going to do that, that's the perfect segue in. Just assume they have a pre-qualification letter, and will you email me that over? And when they say we don't have one, if they say that, kind of act surprised like, oh, really? Okay. Let me explain to you how this process
Are
works.
you finding typically that if they're calling from a signed call, they already have that?
No, it's 50-50, really.
Okay.
Honestly, it's sometimes they are, sometimes they're not.
So then we just need to be prepared as an agent for
Right.
both sides of that.
Exactly. And most of the agents that have been trained by some of the other trainers out there, they go, well, I'm not going to work with you unless you're pre-qualified. I need to make sure I'm not wasting my time. Obviously, as a buyer, you're not going to like that, and they haven't really earned the right, have they, to ask
No,
for
no,
financial
no,
information?
no.
No. So you have to make it seem like it's going to benefit them. We want to make sure you're most comfortable with these payments.
Right.
And then they go, like, if they say no to that, they're kind of stupid. Like,
Yeah, that seems where it was easier to push you off on the appointment, and it was easier to kind of say, "Oh, my husband's not going to be there. That's not a big deal." But the pre-qualification part seemed
yeah, I want to make sure I can afford what I'm looking at. And then if somebody goes, well, I just want to get some ideas, and I go, oh, great. If you just want to get some ideas, why don't you go on my website, drive around, and look at some of these homes. Once you have some ideas and you think you might be ready to go in a home, give me a call back. By the way, if I had a home that fits your needs in the price range you're most comfortable with that's not on the market, would you see that with me? Then you could pull them back in with that again. So we should go back over that. Foreclosures and short sales, not yet on the market. Better
so
deals.
you hit that one always first. That's always your
That
first
is the
one?
very first screen. If you guys do go on our YouTube channel, I have 5 buyer closing technique scripts that maybe we can put a link in our show notes for that, where those are at. So that's sign calls. It's fairly simple. What is the other thing we got to worry about? Oh, setting the appointment, closing the first time. Remember, this could be your only shot. So better deals, homes that are not on the market, foreclosures and short sales. That every time works. It's never not worked. And if you do not get that to work, it's just you're not mirroring and matching their personality styles. I was trying not to make this a personality style training, but that's very important
It has
too.
to. I mean,
If
so
they're
often we're finding that it really is the right person saying the right thing. And if you answer, hi, I'm, I'm just that whiny, like that doesn't match me at all. So when
Right,
I
so
hear
you're
it,
a
it
driver,
really
right.
sticks out. And so if you're, oh, great, you saw my sign.
Right. I'll even prove that the personality style thing is really important. I was Tammy and I were going on a listing appointment yesterday. On the way there, like right before we left, I should say, and we're already almost going to be late. And a guy calls, or actually it was a girl. She calls and goes, "Hey, I'm calling about 123 Cherry Street." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." She starts just blah, like super amiable and just talking. I'm like, me, I'm an expressive driver. I'm like, "Look, ma'am, I want to talk to you about this all day long. I'm walking out the door in an appointment. Can I call you back after the appointment?" She's like, "Gosh, you seem really pushy." Yeah. And I was actually really being amiable with her. And I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? I'm walking out the door to an appointment. I'm sure you could appreciate the fact that I want to be on time to my appointment." And then she was like, "Well, maybe you should have called me back later." I'm like, "I was trying to get you the information." Yeah, whatever. Okay, I got to go. But yeah, and blew that lead, but I didn't care. The girl was so crazy already, I didn't want to work with her. But good, perfect example of it, though. It's like, dude, you're like pushy. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm a driver and you're bugging the shish kebab out of me right now. All right, so let's go into internet leads. We're really taking this long. We might even make this a part 2. I think we're going to have to.
Yeah, I kind of want to, only because the internet leads do seem to be what everybody's spending so much money on.
Yep.
And low conversion.
Okay, so we want to wrap
So,
this one up?
That's, yes,
Okay, so
please.
we're going to have to do internet leads and open houses in
I'm
the
okay
second
with that.
one.
You guys are okay with that. You seem to like the
Yep,
part
everybody
2
wave.
series.
Okay, you're okay with that. All right, so thank you for listening
And
to
you
this
can always
episode.
mention something in the comments if you disagree.
Yeah, absolutely, because some of those are pretty long. So remember, feel free to reach out to us, give us some ideas on upcoming shows, and stay tuned to episode 26,
Yes.
because we're going to do the online lead conversion and online and what? Open houses. All right, guys, thank you very much for rating this good and sharing it with all the other agents. We'll see you soon.